Well, what's up, guys? This is Daniel from Arms Family Homestead, and trying to get back to normal life. I told you guys maybe a week or so ago, I don't know how long it's been between videos, but told you we were putting on a big production at our church called Heaven's Gates and Hell's Flames, and last night was the last night for that. It was a crazy week, to say the least. It's an awesome production, an awesome program, but it's physically and mentally draining when you have to work during the day, be at the church at 5, and then you don't get home until about 10. But I don't care. It's spiritually recharging. If you've never seen Heaven's Gates, Hell's Flames, you need to check it out. It's a major production that travels all around the country, all around the globe. It's not just one team. They have multiple teams, so you can check them out. realityoutreachministries.org, I believe, is their website, and figure out if they're in your area. It's awesome. It's crazy. So I spent several nights this week playing the part of Satan, and anyways, big role, big part. I love it. We had, I couldn't even tell you, 30 to 50 people per night come down to the altar to rededicate their life or to give their life to Christ. It's awesome. It's awesome. Ty and Cindy Fisher were there putting it on. They're incredible people. Ty's such a high energy guy. He just makes you want to love life. He makes you just excited to be alive, and it's incredible. But today, we're doing a little sweating, trying to get back to normalcy. I'm out in the high tunnel, getting a little fall cleanup, fall prep is what we're going to call it. All of the self-wicking tubs are in the process of being rehabbed. I've got a ton of tubs out here. If you haven't seen the self-wicking tubs, go check out that video. These things are incredible. It's not something I thought up. A good friend of mine designed these, and they work amazingly. I've never used them all the way through the fall and winter, so this will be a first time experience. But in Oklahoma, the weather does get pretty cool, but I'm able to grow greens like spinach, kale, Swiss chard, a lot of those cool season greens grow really well in Oklahoma all through the winter. Even outside the high tunnel, kale and spinach and things will survive most of the winter. So I'm excited to see how they do in the tubs through the winter. But we've got just about all of our rehab done. Tubs are looking good. Got them all cleaned out, except the Swiss chard. This stuff's been there since the spring and it's still going good, but got them all cleaned up. Everything's out. Look at this cucumber plant that just kind of volunteered here is taking over this raised bed and growing lots of cucumbers. So the main reason that I garden through the fall and winter is, well, there's lots of reasons. First off, it's cooler and I'm not sweating like I am today. There's no bugs. You don't have to worry about pests. There's no weeds. The grass doesn't grow in the wintertime, in the fall, like it does in the spring and summer. But mainly, my wife and I are really big into juicing. We juice a ton in the house. We have a juicer and we juice our vegetables. So greens, it takes a lot of greens to make a good healthy green juice, and they're fairly expensive when you go to the grocery store. So what I do is I start a ton of greens in the fall, and then all winter long we're just harvesting greens. They don't grow very fast through the winter, but they stay alive and they stay green, and they make good healthy juice and food for my family. So anywho, I'll show you. I'm going back to the soil block method. I've got a big tray that I got from Haas Tools that I used this summer, and we may do some starts in there. I'm really kind of sticking to my soil block maker, my soil blocks. I'll show you guys that process. A lot of you have probably seen this. I've done a ton of videos on soil blocks, but that little machine turns potting mix into a perfect little block of soil that I can start my seeds in. And I've already got some started, so let's show you those real quick. Got several trays going. So we got beets coming up here. We've got a couple varieties of kale. This is more Swiss chard. Spinach is just starting to pop up. And over there we've got cabbage and bok choy that haven't done a lot just yet. So anywho, that was a lot of talking. I'm going to set the camera down, make up a few soil blocks, show you guys that process, start a few seeds, and just do my thing in the greenhouse. So to mix up these soil blocks, I'll start off with a good quality store-bought potting mix. Just a good loose mix that will clump together really well. just add some water. Got to turn the water on first. Add some water. We're going to mix it up really, really well. Then the star of the show is my soil block maker. This thing is awesome. It makes 4 soil blocks, has a little little plastic tip on there to make a hole to where the seeds go in. So I got my soil and the water all mixed up. Nice consistency so that the soil will stick together really well when you squeeze it. So I'm just gonna press the soil into the soil block maker, wipe it off, and into the tray. Bam! Let's mix up some soil blocks. Bam! Look at those beautiful soil blocks. Alright, I got 4 more trays of soil blocks made up. Gonna plant some seeds, because we're all about planting seeds, right? Got a few packs of MI Gardener seeds and a few other things here. So let's show you what all we're gonna plant. Start off, we're gonna do some hailstone radishes. And by the way, if you're not familiar with MI Gardener, Luke has a phenomenal channel. If you're into gardening, he's like a gardening guru wizard. And he sells seeds. migardener.com. Hailstone radish, love them. They're a white radish, they're more like a turnip, but they are tasty. And if you follow my channel for very long, you know I'm going to be planting watermelon radishes. They're really cool. Another tray of spinach, because you can never have too much spinach when you're juicing. And some more beets. Another tray of beets, because beets are good for the blood. And when I juice them, it turns that juice just bright red. Tastes amazing. So as you can see, this little soil block maker is a great way to start a bunch of seeds to get a lot of crops going for your fall garden. And like I said, I've used this thing for years. I bought it on Amazon. I'll leave a link in the description box down below if you want to go check it out. I think they're like 30 bucks or something. But you can save a ton of money starting these things, because if you're lucky, your garden centers may have some fall plants for you to start. But they'll have like 6 packs of lettuce, 6 packs of spinach, and then the 6, just the little 6-pack plastic containers. And you're paying $2 or $3 a piece for a 6-pack when you can make literally hundreds of these. So go check out the little soil block maker if that's something you're interested in. Get you one off Amazon. Now, I'm not going to be starting everything in soil blocks. There is no reason to do everything in soil blocks. I like doing it because it gives me a large quantity of crops, and then I can situate them where I want them in my raised beds or in the tubs. But I am going to go ahead and direct sow some seeds into some of these tubs. We'll go ahead and water them in deep. We'll water them, with the fill pipes, fill the reservoir up at the bottom. And then we'll just sow some seeds in here and top water them a little bit. Over the first few days, we probably will come out here and water at least daily. It's still hot. We're still in the 90s here in Oklahoma. And while these tubs do self-wick moisture up, it doesn't make it all the way to the surface of the soil sometimes, just because of evaporation. So we will water them until they get a nice little set of roots on them. And maybe, I would say, a week, 10 days, something like that, until they sprout and get going. They should be good to go. The self-wicking tubs, I think, will work great with the soil blocks or direct sowing. But as you can see, we have plenty of tubs to test it out on. So before I can plant anything in these tubs, I have been doing some rehab on them. I come in here, fluff the soil up again, top them off with a little bit more compost. And before I plant, the last thing I'm gonna do is do a really good job of incorporating some fertilizer into the soil. I'm doing 2 different things that Leon suggests when building these wicking tubs. And since we've already grown crops through them all summer, all spring and summer, I feel like they've probably used up most of the minerals and most of the fertilizer. So we're going to be adding about 1/8 of a cup of evaporated sea mineral. Adds lots of trace minerals in there. And then this is the Sustain 464. It's like composted turkey feathers and all kinds of good organic fertilizer. We're going to add about 1/4 of a cup. And like I said, I'm not just going to sprinkle it on top. I'm going to sprinkle it in there and then turn that soil in really well. Get the fertilizer mixed down into the soil several inches so it's not just right at the top. Alrighty then, I think that's about gonna do it for me today in the garden. As you can see, the sun's starting to hit the high tunnel, which means it warms up in here pretty quick. But I got 8 self-wicking tubs rehabbed, fertilized, planted, and watered in. So we'll see what they do. We're gonna try to grow through these all fall and all winter if we can get our seeds to sprout. That's step one, right? We got to get there first. But got 8 of these ready, got tons of soil blocks planted this morning, and I am dripping wet with sweat, and it's flat out getting hot out here, as you can probably see by the bright sunlight. So as I was saying earlier in the video, I kind of want to bring this all together. So, you know, we're planting seeds, right? Planting seeds. So this whole week for us, this past week, has been about Heaven's Gates, Hell's Flames. And as I said earlier, Ty and Cindy Fisher come in and put that on. Ty's an incredible speaker. He just blows my mind. But last night during our praise and worship time before Heaven's Gates, Hell's Flames started, he kind of challenged us, kind of got to talking about missionaries and missions and things. And as Christians and as believers, we feel like, you know, we send missionaries off to other countries, missionaries off to other places. And that's kind of our duty to help fund those events and fund those things. But Ty he kind of hit a nerve with me last night when we got to talking about the Great Commission. And, you know, one of the last things that Christ did before he ascended into heaven was give the Great Commission to the disciples, and that was to go out and make disciples of all men, of all people, not just send out missionaries to do the job. We're all called to do that. And, you know, I know this, not everyone's into Christianity, and I know not all of my followers believe in Christ, and that's okay. Because I do, and I know what I believe, and I'm going to share my beliefs with you. And if that, you know, is something you don't like, I'm sorry. We're Christians, and it's my duty to tell you this. So Christ came and died on the cross for us. He set forth the Great Commission to send us all out to make disciples. And Ty was talking about that last night, and he was like, you know, many of you are believers. Many of you know you're going to heaven. Many of you have accepted Christ. You know you're going to heaven. But what are you doing to go out and gather the people? To go out and make disciples of all the people? And yeah, that one kind of hit home with me last night, because while I am open and I share my beliefs, I share Christ with people, am I really doing anything to be a missionary in my own way? I mean, we have a YouTube channel with 160-something thousand subscribers at the time of making this video. Whew, that's a lot of people. I mean, how many pastors have that kind of audience? How many people that go out and become a preacher have an audience of 160,000 people? That one kind of hit home with me when Ty talked about that last night. So I know I've shared my beliefs with you guys, and I've had a great response. I've had an awesome response. I've rarely ever had a negative response. And a lot of people are scared to talk about their beliefs and their religion on YouTube because they just think that's not what you're supposed to do on YouTube. And you know what? I'm sorry. This is my channel. I'm going to share what I want. And guys, I'll just end it with this and say, listen, I had a great week at Heaven's Gates Hell's Flames. You need to find one in your area and check it out. And it's incredible. But here's the main thing. If you died today, where would you go? Do you know for a fact that if you died in a car accident, or if you died, had a heart attack in your garden, do you know for a fact when you closed your eyes in death that you would wake up in heaven and get to stay there? Because that was one of the things we talked about in Heaven's Gates Hell's Flames. Everybody's going to go to heaven. Everyone's going to have that judgment day in heaven. But when you get there, are you going to stay? Or are you going to be sent to the lake of fire, to hell? Because as we talked about this week, hell's not a bad word. Hell's a bad place. It's real. It really is a real place. And it's our job as Christians to make sure we get everybody else in the boat with us. So if you died today, would you go to heaven and stay there for eternity? That's it. Planting seeds for fall, planting seeds for the harvest. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Y'all have a great day. And as always, we'll see you on the next video.